So hello everybody, how is it all going? I hope all of you are doing well, and welcome back to a brand new video and what could potentially become a new series if you guys like it. And it's, as you already know because you've read the title, it's going to be combining my two favourite hobbies, model railways and kit building. For any of you who don't know, I love kit building. I build kits all the time as well as model railways. Put some pictures up on screen of various kits I've built. I mainly build aircraft, particularly Spitfires. They're just the pictures I'm showing you because I love the Supermarine Spitfire. But I do build other things. I'm not just a boring person who builds the exact same type of plane. I do build other ones. But they're just the pictures I'm showing you because they're my best models I've done. But I thought I'd combine them and try out the world of Wagon kit building. So I've got 4 kits with me. They arrived yesterday in a package. We have a tanker. We have a cattle wagon. We have a brake van, and we have a fairly interesting one, I think, a 20-ton twin silo cement wagon. So I've got all 4 of these. I'm going to build one in today's episode, and if it goes well, I'll build the other ones. So I'm just going to pick at random which one I'm going to build. Not looking, let's do this one. And it is the Class B tanker. I presume that is the product code CO36. Dapol Kitmaster 00/HO scale plastic kit made in the UK. Blah blah blah. Everything you normally find on a kit. So I'm going to get this all out of the packaging and we'll take a closer look. So here is everything laid out. I've put a couple of torches on so you can see better, but we do obviously have the instructions to build it, and then we've got all the various sprues laid out here. So the first thing I'm going to do, it says it is recommended that the instructions and exploded views are studied, the various individual parts identified, and that assembly is practiced before cementing together. We recommend that all parts are painted. See section 4. Colour scheme, right, so that's right, okay. So I think what it looks like, I'm going to paint all the pieces up before assembling. I don't know how easy this is going to be, but the colours you will need if you ever want to build this is matte black, complete wagon, apart from gunmetal, buffer heads and red, extreme ends of axle boxes. So if my hands are a bit shaky at the moment, I'm trying to control the camera, but my room is a tad cold, and considering the weather has been quite nice over here in the UK, particularly where I live, I don't know why my bedroom is so cold. The windows aren't open, I just don't know. But I'm going to try and get this camera set up in a decent position where I can get a good shot of me painting all the stuff. Another thing I just wanted to look at quickly is the decal sheet. As you can see, these are the decals. Not that many, but then it's only a small tanker wagon, you wouldn't expect that much. They look to be a decent quality. I have seen better quality than this, but they should be fine. I'll soon find out when it comes to applying them. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to try and find an area where I can get a good shot of me painting. Hopefully this goes well, fingers crossed. Well, if you're watching this, it probably has gone well, so there. So for now, I've put the camera here. I hope this is a good shot, but anyway, so the paint I'm going to be using is the Revel Aqua acrylic paint. Focus. This is matte black, number 08. So I'm going to take the lid, give it a bit of a shake first. Hold on, focus. There we go. Give it a bit of a shake, make sure it's all mixed up, because acrylic paints can sort of separate. So let's just take it off. Got about half a pot of it left. So looking at the instructions, it says to paint the whole of it matte black, apart from the buffer heads and the end of the axle boxes. So I guess I'll start with the side of the tank. Seems like a good way to start. So if I just get my paintbrush, my trusty paintbrush, this is going to be pretty awkward trying to do this because the way the camera is positioned, I'm trying not to knock it, but just get a bit of paint on. You might not be able to see this. Get a bit of paint on the paintbrush, and let's see how this goes. I might have to, I'm going to have to reposition myself give me a quick second. Right, I might just have to kneel down instead of sitting on my chair to try and get a good shot. I am looking at the camera, making sure you can see all of this, but I might just quickly time lapse all of this so you're just not sat here watching me paint constantly. And there we have it, the first coat of the black paint on the top of the tankers. Now, when looking at this, don't be disheartened or sad that it looks a bit patchy. This first coat acts as sort of base primer coat. And always, my technique is always use out of the pot for the first coat, and then the second coat, I'm going to sound like a expert like these pro modelers, but always water it down because it reduces the chance of brush strokes. But only water it down if it's acrylic paint. If you're using enamel paints, use white spirit or special enamel thinners. You can get special acrylic thinners, but water works exactly the same way, and it just makes it look a better, more blocked in colour. What I do like about this is sometimes with modern kits is they have this sort of residue left over that you can't see from the moulding process. That can sometimes stop the paint from sticking, so you have to clean them and then give them a scrub before you paint. Nothing with this, the paint stuck really beautifully to this. And another point I would make, I've been modelling for 2 years now. I'm currently 17, I started when I was 15. If you're starting out and you're younger, I'd always recommend adult supervision. I had adult supervision in my first 3 kits I did. 2 with my dad, 1 with my granddad. But after that I sort of was able to cope by myself, and I've gradually improved and know how to do things safely. So yeah, always recommend with that. But once you've had practice, it's fine, you can get used to it. But anyway, that is the top of the tankers painting the first coat. I'll do the second coat off camera, but I'll start painting the rest of it before I do the second coat. I've done the first coat on every single piece of kit apart from obviously the wheels, because I'm going to use the metal wheels that are included in the kit instead of the plastic wheels. But I'm just going to show you the next steps of what I do. So after the first coat, I always do a second coat and a third coat watered down. So what I do is get a bit of paint, about 3 pieces. I roughly do a ratio of about 3 to 1. So if you can hear the cars in the background, it's a bit annoying. But now you can put the lid back on the paint, and then you can use whatever you want. I use a pipette to take 1 drop of water, put it back, and then give it a bit of a mix. And as I mentioned before, this increases the flow quality of the paint, and it helps reduce brush strokes. But obviously I'm gonna time lapse this, and I'll do a second coat on everything, and then we can move on to the building. So as you've just seen, I've added the second coat of paint to this. Obviously you saw I watered it down, and you can really see the difference the second coat does. It really adds a really nice finish. But I'm going to add the second coat to everything here. I'll do that off camera, and if it needs a third coat, I'll give it a third coat. But if not, we can start assembly. So I'll be back for me in about half an hour to 45 minutes, but for you guys I'll be back in like a second, so I'll see you in 1 second. And so here I am back, as I said, and for what was a second for you was actually 1 day and 2 coats of paint later. So it is now the following day, and all of this has had a coat of paint, 2 coats of paint now, so a total of 3 coats of paint all together, and we're ready to start gluing the pieces together. And what I'm going to be using is this, the Tamiya extra thin cement, and this stuff is fantastic. It is so good. Because it has a brush applicator which allows you to finally place the glue. So what I'll do is I'll take pictures of each step and put them in one of the corners of the screen so you can tell what I'm doing on the instructions. There are only 3 main steps and then a bunch of little steps underneath it to tell me what I need to do each time, but I'm going to get some glue, and you do need to be quick when putting the glue on this because it can dry out fairly fast. You don't want too much, but you don't want too little that it dries out really quick, because as soon as this is on it will dry as fast as anything. I'm just going to put another bit on over there, and then let's get the other half and stick it together, and make sure that the top hole is also lined up. There we go. And what I'm going to do is, to keep them in place at the same time, is add the tank ends, which are these bits. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure they're lined up. Come on, stay lined up. There we go. Just hold it like that, and paint some glue, put some glue around the edges of this, and place one on like, no, you're not meant to come off, place one on like that. There we go. And then on the other side, get some glue going around it. You don't, like I mentioned, you don't want too much, but you do want enough that it properly glues. And then let's get it on, and you'll hear a click. You'll hear a click. There we go. It's together, fully together. There we go. So that is the main tank. Pretty nice. So what I'm looking at now is I'm just trying to figure out what I need to do next. So I'll be back in a moment when I've looked at the next instructions and work out what I need to do next. So what I've had to do is I've had to take the end off of this one, because looking at the instructions it only says to put one of the ends on it. It looks like the other end goes on over here, which I'm a bit confused about. But anyway, so next, as you can see in the picture, we need to put number 4 on, which is at the far top right corner. So you see, so we'll locate which piece that is on the sprue. It looks like it is, I think I might know what it is when I was doing the painting. It looks like it is not on that sprue, on this sprue. Just got to find the piece now. Ah, there it is. Piece number 4. I'm pretty sure that's what that is anyway. This bit here. This little, I don't really know what you'd call it. What would you call that? It's the cement end valve interlocating holes on the cap, which I presume is the cap. Okie dokie. Right, so let's take that off of the sprue just by wiggling it. Show this on screen. I realise I'm not doing very well at showing things on screen, but I'm just doing a bit of wiggling to get it off of the the screw is slowly detaching. One bit's detached, just wiggle it off. There we go, it's off. Right, you do need to be careful when doing things like that though, in case it snaps. But what we're now going to do is locate the areas of the tank where it needs to go, those little holes. But what I'm going to do, you only need a tiny bit of glue. Just pop the brush through the holes and like that. Then I realise I haven't actually painted the bottom of this handle, but I will do that. And then you place them into the holes. If I can actually locate the hole, there it is, and in it goes. So that is that piece done. Next up is piece number 5, which is cement manhole cover 5, which is on the far. It's, well, you can probably work out it's just above the far side of the edge of the frame. Note this can be either fixed in the open or shut position as required. Okay, so you need to find piece number 5. Is that this piece? I guess it is. It would be kind of helpful if they had label. Normally with model kits, it's a number which piece it is. These screws just don't have the number on them, which is a bit handy. But just looking, I presume it's this. I'm just looking through all the other pieces, making sure that it's not one of them. I don't think it is, and there's only one of these, so I guess it is that. So we'll take that off of the sprue, and where does it go? It goes cement manhole cover in place on body. Now this can be either fixed, cement manhole cover in place on body. It goes there. Pretty simple. It goes there. Okay, so we're going to get the glue and just do a quick spinner around the top. Make sure that we get the hole, so you can have it open. I'm going to have it closed, and it goes in this area because there is a slight gap on the piece. So let me try and figure this out. Hold on, and hold on, there's a bit of flash. Let me just take, this is one other thing to note, is this little bit of plastic up here, you can't see, that little plastic sticking up there is called flash. You just need to cut it off, it's not needed, it's just left over from the moulding process. So take 2, you can see that this has this little sort of piece here, come on, focus. Not very easy when you're trying to focus on something black. Come on. Okay, clearly don't want to focus. Let me try and put a torch on. I haven't actually put the torches on yet. That adds a bit more light. There we go. Right, so see if it will now focus. I'll have to do, I guess. But you've got this sort of sticky up bit there, and if you look at this piece here, you can see that's got a gap where that is meant to go. Not very easy to focus this. Why is my camera just being so annoying today? So it's probably dried out now, so just put a bit more glue there around it, and then with the piece you then want to place it on top like so. No, don't stick to my finger. And there we go. That looks to be on. Hold on. I realise I'm not showing this on camera. I'm just holding it right up close to my face. It's been a bit of a pain to get on. Come on. There we go. That's better. Just give a quick circle of glue around the edge just to fix it in place. There we go. That is that. Wasn't the most easiest part to put on, but anyway. Next step. locate the cement screw down valve number 6. I know what that is. That is this bit here, I think, anyway. Yeah, it is that bit. Where does that go? As I just take it off the sprue onto a locating hole on top of tank body. Again, know where that goes. It goes in that little hole right there, if you can see it, that one there. So let's pop some glue on the actual piece that's going in there, and then again try and show this in a way that's easy. Again, I realise I'm not showing it very well, and in it goes. It just pops in like that. Perfect. If you can see. Come on, this camera is being so annoying. So the next step that I had to do was locate the vacuum brake cylinders, which are pieces 7 and 8, onto the shorter cross beams of the underframe, which I have done. That's these pieces here. They just slot in with a bit of glue. And next it's time to continue the underframe by adding the sides, which are obviously these bits. And these are pretty simple to add. Just find it, and it literally just glues underneath like that. It is as simple as that, just glues underneath like that. So I'm going to get some glue and do that. I'm going to put the glue on the underframe at this point. So just add some along here like so, and along here. And I presume the next step is to add the other side as well. So let's make sure it's the right way round. That is the right way round. Add a bit of glue to these bits here, and there we go. And place it on like so. And that is that, I think. He says. There we go. Yep. And the next step is to do the same thing on the other side, I think. Where's piece? No, piece number. No, that's the step afterwards. I'll get onto that in a moment. But next, it's step 8, which is apply cement to the axle pins of wheels at 12 and 14, and press into axle holes on the other 2 wheels. Check the wheels run true. If preferred, use the metal wheels supplied in the kit, which I will do very nicely. So if I lift this off here and grab the metal wheels that I placed in my little pot over there. I find metal wheels are just so much better than plastic wheels. So just work out. They obviously go into these holes, and you have to put the other side on. That's got knocks a bit, that little brake cylinder. So if preferred, use them. So these little pin bits obviously go in those holes. You don't obviously glue them in, otherwise they won't move. But so you need to do that, and then you put the other side of the underframe on. So just take that off. There's quite a heavy bit of flashing on this. I'll have to tidy that up. But let's just take this off of the sprue. I will just use the knife for this one. One and 2, and there we go. Pop that sprue back over there. So again, I need to tidy this up because there's a fair amount of flash. You just need to work out which pieces need to be cut off. So it is right. Okie dokie. Yep. Right. So I just need to. I'll cut all the flash off of these pieces, and then I'll get back. So here's the next side of the underframe, which I'm gonna add in a moment. I just need to put the metal wheels in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit that like that and place, drop that, and place the metal wheels on like that and like that. And make sure the pins are in the gaps, like so, and that's like that. This is where it becomes a bit tricky. Hold on, I might just, a bit annoyingly, I might have to do this cut away, because this is going to be a bit tricky to do in front of the camera. So sadly, you're not going to be able to see me do it because it's a bit awkward. But I'll be back in a quick second once they're all together. So that is it. I have got it together now. After a bit of pain, it is together. I'm leaving that to dry overnight now. Make sure that is fully glued and cured. So again, you're going to be seeing the next part in about a second. For me, it will be tomorrow, but I'll be back in a second, and we can start moving on to the next part of the building stage. Right, and so I am back a second later for you, but another day for me, and we are gonna now put the main body of the tank onto the underframe and chassis. So to do this, what you need to do is you need to place glue on each of the sorts of pieces here, and also on these sticky up bits there, because they go into the holes underneath there. So we need to get some glue and put a little dab on it, each of these. Again, not too much, but just enough to keep it in place. And then we're going to put some on it here, around there like so, and on this one, and around the edges. Put that over there, and then we need to get it lined up perfectly, which that looks like that is. Now this comes to the awkward bit, trying to film and do this at the same time. I'm looking underneath, that end is in, and I think that end is in. That's it, it's on, just like that. The tank is now on to the chassis, and you can see it's really nicely freewheeling, very nice freewheeling even on this, so I feel like it's going to be very nice. So, looking at the instructions, the next bit is to locate and cement buffer beams to ends of underframe. So that's pieces that says 16 and 17 on the picture in the top corner, which are these bits here. That is those pieces, so I just take them off of the sprue like that, and they need to be black, and then you obviously put the buffers in. So let's see how this goes. So looking at it, looking at the picture, they just fit on like that. That's how it looks as if anyway. So this is still pretty awkward having a camera here, but let's turn that upside down, and that's not going to work, is it? Right. So how am I going to do this? I'm going to take the instructions out of the way and put them on the floor. So I'm looking at it, and it just goes in that area there. It just sits in to there. You need to obviously glue that in place. So what we're going to do is, sorry if this is still a bit all over the place, because it is quite awkward trying to do this. But what we're going to do next is obviously glue the buffer beams on like that. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut away and get into a better position where I can show you this, because the way I'm positioned at the moment is not quite as great, because I'm currently sat right behind the camera, so I'm having to reach over the camera to try and do so. So I'll just do a very quick cutaway, and I'll be back in a moment. Right, that's better. I've just repositioned. So I've just had a quick practice fit, and it is a very, very slight, snug fit, but it does seem as if you have to sort of, this sort of prizes these apart a bit. You may see what I'm doing in a moment, but I'm just going to put some glue on each of the bits where the it needs to stick to. And I hope I'm showing this well on camera. Get it right positioning. Let's just check that's the way it's meant to be, I think. Yep, that is the way it's meant to be. And then you just need to, I really hope I'm showing this well. My fingers are right in the way, bugger. And then you go underneath here. It really isn't easy to show on camera. Right. Try it like this. Ah, it's fallen off. No. Right. Try again. There. Right. So you can see what I mean by it kind of prizes them a bit away, but that it looks like it is on. I'm just gonna put a slight tad bit of glue on each side to make sure it really fits and nice and secure. Just get some down there, down there, and down there. Now you've seen me do that, I'll just quickly cut away and add the second buffer, then we can move on to the next part. And as quick as that, the second buffer beam is on. And next up is adding the 4 buffers onto each end of the tanker. So the first step I'm going to do is place some glue into the holes where the buffer beams fit into. Try and get it actually in shot this time. And then you get the buffer and into the buffer beam it goes. Now obviously you can understand that these won't be sprung buffers because they are just plastic, but it doesn't matter because it's only a tank. It's only a piece of rolling stock. So next up we're going to put some more glue into each end like so, and then get the other 2 buffers and slot it in to here. My hand is currently in the way of the shot at the moment, and this buffer has been particularly difficult. Come on. In you go. Nope. Come on. Nearly there. There we go. In it is, and then the final one, this hole here. I realise you can't really see much because my hand is currently in the way, but I can't help that because I am trying to get this in, and this one again it's been particularly difficult. Come on. Come on. Nearly. No. Right, hold on people. I'm going to have to cut away because this buffer is being particularly difficult. So I'm just going to cut away and come back when it's fitted. And there we go, it now has fitted. What I had to do is the hole in the buffer beam didn't seem to be big enough, so I just had to trim down the little bit that fits into the hole. But it's understandable because these kits were made over 50 years ago, which explains why there's some flash and some of that. But the next step is to add the couplings if you want to run it on the railway, which I've got all here. So we're going to put the couplings together and then we can move on to the other details. So to put the couplings together, you use these 3 bits here. This is obviously the main tension knot coupling. You can tell this is a few years old because this is the wider D shape tension knot coupling instead of the more slimline narrow one. But that doesn't matter too much. But basically what you have to do is you get this piece like that, with this piece on the top, and basically what you have to do is these bits here have to go onto there, and also this surrounds that, so that is on like that, and I presume you glue them together. I'm just having a look. right front back. Pretty simple to put them together basically. All you have to do is clip the two ends together as shown on the instructions, and then push the actual coupling it. And I'll just show you the picture on the instructions. So the top layer, the little clip things go into the little sockets there, and then the coupling pushes in. It's all pretty simple enough. Just glue them into the areas on the bottom. One is slightly wonky. There we go. Might have to glue them. But the next step is to cement vacuum pipes 28 and 29 into locating holes are in buffer beams. Okie dokie. So vacuum pipes number what? 28 and 29, which are there. Like that's pretty simple. Number 28 and 29. These are the vacuum pipes here. And there you go on the buffer beams. I presume it's that hole there. That's what I'm guessing anyway. Yeah, that looks like where it goes on the instructions. So I'm just going to take the lid off the glue. Pop some in there. And pop this on like so. Hold on. Right, pop it in and then just pops it in, and I'm just going to quickly twist it around so it faces the right way. The coupling is in the way. Does that say it should be on there actually? Just thinking if the coupling's in the way, it might not be able to be fitted. Hold on, I'll just have a look at the instructions again. So I did manage to get the vacuum pipes in. A bit of a tight squeeze right between the buffer and the coupling, but they did go in. And the next step is to locate the pins of near side brake lever to sole bar, and lower pin located on whole of brake hanger, and the upper pin onto the sole bar, which is this piece right here, and it goes here. So this pin here, if you can see that pin there goes in that hole. Hold on, you can't see it. That hole there, and in that hole is where this piece goes. But I've just been practicing, and it looks like it's a case of the hole isn't big enough. So I'm just going to have to very gently trim this down so it will fit, and I'll be back in a moment. Right, so that seems to have done the trick. I didn't have to cut off that much. It doesn't actually sit fully in. It just sort of lies there, but put a bit of glue there and some glue in there. Perfect. And then let's place that piece in there and lift this up. Hold on. Oops. Try that again. That in there. And that on there, like that. Perfect. Just add a tad bit of glue to surround it, like so. And whoops, sorry, just knocked the camera. And same around here, like that. Perfect. So I'm going to leave that to dry, and then we'll go on the other side and add the second bit, which is just over here. So I've left that for about 20 minutes to fully dry, and it seems to have dried very nicely. So now we're going to add the other one on the other side, which is slightly different, because if I just grab the instructions, instead of there being a hole that this bit goes into, this bit actually sticks out instead, if you can understand what I'm on about. So let me just get that camera so it's not completely glaring. So what you need to do is get some glue. Let's just get a pop it on that side. You need to put a little bit there and a little bit there. I realise you can't see that, but you will in a moment. And then if I then place that on there like that, and then you place that on there like that. Oh no, that's not worked. Hold on. Right, on there like that, and then I'll just put that finger there, and then hit it like that. Might just have to do this for a bit because it doesn't seem to want to stick. So I'll cut away and I'll be back in a couple of seconds when that has glued. So we are very near the end of completing the overall build of the tanker. Just off camera I added what they call catwalks onto the top of the tank, and also I added one ladder on that side, but I'm just going to show you how to add the ladders. So what you need to do is, there's two holes in the chassis here, and that's where these locating pins on the ladder go. So what you need to do, and it's going to be quite awkward with the angle, is put some glue in there. I'm just going to have to do it out of shot because it's quite difficult to do it in shot, so apologies for that. What you then need to do, with some quite decent amount of force, line them up, and then you need to push them in. Oh, actually that didn't really need some force, that just slid in perfectly. Okay, forget that. The other one needed a bit of force, and so apply a bit of glue to the top so it sticks. So I'm just going to do, and then we'll add the final three things before we can move on to the decals. So that is that all done, and the final step is to add the sign plates where the Esso sign goes on and the enter tanker, and then I'm just going to give it another very quick coat of paint with watered down black just to finish it off, because there are some areas on here where the paint has come off. I'm going to attach the other end to the tanker first. You've already seen me do this, but I'll just do it again. Glue around the sides of it, nice and lovely. Sorry if I just knocked the camera, I'm not sure if I did, but apologies if I did. All around, just like that, and then you clip it into place, like so. Boom, there it is. So that's on, and then we add the side plates to these parts of the tanker. So let's line them up. There's two holes on one side and two holes on the other side, but one of the holes has got a bit clogged up with paint, so I'm just going to poke through, try and get that hole back. Where if I put my knife, here it is. Try and poke through that. There we go, that's got that. And then obviously the similar thing, you just put a bit of glue on each hole, one there. I'm trying to be really steady because I'm doing this with my right hand, which is my weak hand because I'm left-handed, and at this angle it's quite difficult to get it right. And then you get the slime plate, and on it goes. I think that's on. Yeah, that's on. Where is it? Yeah, that is on. And then, hold on, no, that's not on. Blimey, this is a bit awkward to get on. Hold on, I'll be back in a moment once I've figured out how to actually get this on. Ah, that's got it. That's got it on. So then we're going to do it with the other one, and you can see where I've had to sort of poke a hole through where the hole should be. Hopefully that will fit. Again, I'm gonna have to do this off camera. It's a bit awkward to get the bits lined up, but that seems to have done it. So that is the overall build of the tanker completed. Looks quite good. So as I said, just off camera, I'm gonna give it a quick paint of black coat just to get it all finished, and then we can move on to the decals. So that is it, all complete, ready for the decals now. I've moved the camera up here because I feel like this will be a better area to see me doing the decals, but you can just see the buffer beams, or the buffers, have been painted silver, and the axle boxes, if you can see that, have been painted red. Yeah, there you go, you can roughly see that. So next up, it's time to move on to the decals. Now I'm not sure how good these decals are going to be, since this is a 30 over 50-year-old kit, but we'll soon find out. But I'm just going to chop these up and we can get started. So that is all the decals cut up. I'm going to start with the main Esso signs, and if you haven't done decals already, basically what you need to do is you hold the sheet with the decal on in warm water for about 10 seconds. If I can actually pick it up, it would be quite handy. You hold it in warm water for about 10 seconds, and then you slide it off the backing paper onto the kit. I'm not quite sure how good these are going to be. They're definitely not going to be up to the standards of my kits I built. I'm just letting that soak there, just see if it will move about. Not yet. Just see if it's ready. Nope, still not ready to move out. So a bit more. Dunk it in, and there we go, it's starting to move a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this in shot as best as I can. This is going to be quite difficult. Slide it on, take the backing paper away, and then settle it down, smooth it out, make sure it is perfectly lined up, which this one's been a bit of a pain to do that. Let me use my knife to pick it up and scooch it along a bit. And there we go, and that is in place. So I'm going to do the other side, repeat the process, and then so on and so on. So here we are down at the railway, and I'm just going to first off do a quick free rolling test by lifting up the board of the railway and seeing how far she goes. Okay, so just round the corner you can see that, but I'm now going to hook it, no you can't see that, there it is, but I'm now going to hook it up to this loco here, which if any of you don't know, you may recognise if you've been watching my channel for a while, is the VR Standard Class 3MT from Wagon. So we're going to bring it back round, and this isn't the greatest runner, but we're not here to see how the engine performs, we're here to see how the tanker performs in the actual wagon. So bring it back round, hook it up, and then it's already hooked up, that's handy, so off we go. Relatively moderate speed, and this engine suits stuff like this because it was a freight engine. It would have pulled passengers, I'm fairly sure, but mostly it would have pulled freight, I would assume. But it runs really nice, excuse me. The tank runs really nice, and those metal wheels are so much better than those plastic wheels they also gave. I'm so glad they give you the option to use the metal wheels. Very nice runner. And we can soon get a full train going once I've built the 3 other wagons. Anyway, here are my ratings on what I think of the Dapol / X Airfix Esso tank wagon. So overall, I think this is a pretty good kit. It may be 50 years old, but I think it's still a good kit for the age, particularly within the detail. Every single piece is perfectly moulded. There wasn't any bit that I struggled to fit. It was all perfect. The only issues was there was some parts with some flash, but then you come to expect things like that from old kits because they didn't have the same technology as they do nowadays, so I can't really mark them down for that. Performance 5 stars, I couldn't fault it really because the when I did the free rolling test, it went perfectly fine. So I've got to give 5 stars for that because it didn't derail, didn't uncouple. It was perfect. The only areas where this does get let down is the instructions and the decals. And I know I said I can't mark down the flash, but I'm gonna have to mark down the decals. This is going to sound very hypocritical, but I can't think of a good way to explain it. But the decals are just terrible, and you can't make the kit without the decals. It will just look stupid. And the instructions could have been slightly better. I mean, they were fairly easy to understand, but they could have been slightly better. So overall, I'm going to give the detail 5 stars, performance 5 stars, decals 2 stars, and the instructions 3 stars, I think. But here are some pictures on the railway.